Alright, we're going to work on our practice test today. So the first one has us taking something that's an expanded form and writing it in standard form. So it gave us a place value chart. That's convenient. So remember, with expanded form they do digit times place. So they have this digit 8 and they want it in the tens place. Go to my place value chart, tens place. Put an 8 there. They want this digit 9 in the tenths place. Tenths place, tenths. Oh look, there's a tenths. I want a 9 in the tenths place. I want this digit 7 in the thousandths place. Thousandths place? Nope. Thousandths place? Yes. I want a 7 in the thousandths place. The places that were skipped, we need placeholders. What do we use for placeholders? Zeros. And we keep our decimal exactly where it is. Now in number 2, you were doing something similar, except they did not give you a place value chart. Now in number 2, you were taking words and putting them in standard form. So what comes before the and is your whole number, the and is your decimal, and what comes after the and is your decimal places. So 6, we know how to write a 6, and that means decimal, and then 46 thousandths. Grabbing a pencil. So if I just wrote 46 thousandths, is that 46 thousandths? No, that's 46 hundredths. I need 46 thousandths. Well, what if I wrote, is that 46 thousandths? I see this a lot. They go 46. Okay, that's only 46 hundredths. Let me just put a 0 there. No, that says 460. See that number? That's 460. I don't want 460. I want 46th, but I want it to go to the thousandths place. So I put my 0 in my tenths place, and then 46. That's 46 thousandths. And I can check up here to see and make sure that I have, oh look, there it is. Alright, 654 thousandths. There's no word and there, but that doesn't mean there's not a decimal. What that means is it's all decimal, and I know that because there is THS there. So 654. I want to write 654, and I want to make sure it goes to the thousandths place. So 654 thousandths, right there. 6 and, 6 is my whole number, and is my decimal, 540 thousandths. 540, and it does go tenths, hundredths, thousandths to the thousandths place, so that is correct, and it is right here. 6 and, 6 is my whole number, and is my decimal, 45 thousandths. I can't just write 45 because that would be hundredths. I can't write 450 because that would be 450. I have to put a 0 in the tenths place and then 45 thousandths. Number 3 is a tricky question that a lot of students get wrong. Brad has 10 coins. Each coin weighs 152 thousandths. So a lot of kids would go, oh okay, 152 thousandths. There's my answer. No, that is not the answer. It says decide if each expression is equivalent to the weight of 10 coins. This is 1 coin. I want 10 coins. So I have to take this and multiply it by 10. That was our previous lesson where we multiplied and divided by powers of 10. Since I'm multiplying by 10, our digits move to the left or get bigger. So 152 thousandths times 10 is 1 and 52 hundredths. This is what I'm looking for. So let's look at our answer choices. That says 152 thousandths, not it. 152 thousandths, that says thousandths. 1 and 52 hundredths. Yes, that is 1 and 52 hundredths. That's one of my answer choices. A 1 in the tenths place. No, that 1's not in the tenths place, so that's not a correct answer. A whole number 1. Yes, I have a whole number 1. 5 tenths. Yes, I have 5 tenths. 2 hundredths. Yes, I have 2 hundredths. That is the same thing. 1 and 52 hundredths, that's the same thing that I have written over here. So we had 3 correct answers. Number 4 was very similar to number 2, except they did not give you an answer bank to choose from. 3 and, 3 is your whole number, and is your decimal. 42 thousandths. Is this 42 thousandths? No, it's 42 hundredths. Is this 42 thousandths? No, it's 420 thousandths. 42 thousandths, you have 0 tenths, 4 hundredths, and 2 thousandths. 42 tenths, hundredths, thousandths. You can always draw a place value chart if you need it for help. 2 and, 2 is my whole number, and is my decimal. 505 thousandths. 505, and it goes to the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. 6 and, 6 is my whole number, and is my decimal. 24 thousandths. I can't just write 24, that would be hundredths. I need it to go to the thousandths. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Well, if I wrote, let's see, 204, does that say 24? No, it doesn't. 240, does that say 24? No, it doesn't. It says 240. I have to write 24 in the thousandths column. So I have 0 tenths, 2 hundredths, and 4 thousandths. We've done several problems like this. That should tell you you're going to see one like that on your test. 322 thousandths. I don't see the word and anywhere, but I do see THS, which means all of this is a decimal and there is no whole number. I don't have a whole number at all. It's all decimal. 322. 322. Just like number 1 had a place value chart, you can draw those on your test or on your scratch paper on your test. They may or may not give you one, but you can definitely use one, put one on your scratch paper. Number 5 gives us an expression in expanded form, and they want us to show it in standard or written form. So the decimal form, we have a 2 in the tens place. So this one does not have a 2 in the tens place. That's wrong. We have a 3 in the ones place. Well, these all have 3 in the ones place. A 3 in the tens place. These two have a 3 in the tens place. This one does not. And a 6 in the thousandths place. This 6 is in the hundredths place. This 6 is in the thousandths place. So this is the correct answer. Then they want us to write that same decimal in word form. So that's 23. That's what comes in front of the decimal. Whenever we see the decimal, we say the word and. We have 306. We read this as if it were a whole number. 306. 306. And then we say the last digit's place value. Since that last digit is in the thousandths place, we say thousandths. And we make sure to put THS on the end of it. On number 5, we are comparing decimals. Now, in order to compare decimals, we have to line them up. But in order to line them up, you have to have them written in standard form. So this one is written in standard form, 4 and 45 hundredths. This one is 4 and 45 hundredths. Since all digits are the same, those are equal. These are already written in standard form. I do need to rewrite them, lining them up, because I want to make certain that I get the correct answer. I fill in empty places with zeros. Since 7 ones is greater than 6 ones, 7 and 5 tenths is greater than 6 and 50 thousandths. This is an expanded form. I need to write it in standard form, but there is a typo. This should be 2 times 1 tenth and 2 times 100th. So that is a 2 in the tenths place and a 2 in the hundredths place for 22 hundredths. Then we have 29 thousandths. So 29 thousandths would be a 0 in the tenths place, a 2 in the hundredths place, and a 9 in the thousandths place. So if I compare starting at the left, 2 tenths is greater than 0 tenths. So 22 hundredths is greater than 29 thousandths. 53,000, and we're comparing that to 5 and 53 hundredths. 5 and 53 hundredths. Remember, even though we don't see a decimal in this number, there is one at the end. We fill in empty spaces with zeros, and 50,000 is much larger than just 5 measly ones. So that is a greater than sign. 6 and 456 thousandths, 6 and 456 thousandths. Those are the exact same thing. Every single digit's the same. So those were equal. In the next section, it asks you to write these in increasing order. Increasing means least to greatest, but in order to do that, we needed to line up our decimals. So 2 and 524 thousandths, 2 and 12 thousandths, 20 and 624 thousandths, 0 and 2012 10 thousandths. Interesting. We're going to fill in empty places with zeros. Since I want least to greatest, I'm looking for the smallest one first. So this one here is larger than all of these. These zeros are all smaller than this 2. Okay, so this one is going to be the largest. That's my greatest one. I'm going to cover that up and not look at it. Since all of these are 0 and I got to find out which one's the smallest, I'm going to go to my next column. These are both 2's and this is a 0. 0 is less than 2, so this one goes first. For my least, 0 and 2012 10 thousandths. I'm going to cross that off because I used it. Both of these are 2's, so I'm going to go to the next column. 0 tenths is less than 5 tenths. So 2 and 12 thousandths comes next. Cross that off. This one's going to come next, 2 and 524 thousandths. And then finally, my one that I covered up is my greatest one, and it's going to come last, 20 and 624 thousandths. I'm asked to compare these numbers, but not only am I asked to compare the numbers, I'm also asked to give a reasoning why I picked the symbol I picked. So first, we're going to line up our decimals. 4 and 813 thousandths, 4 and 921 thousandths. These are the same. This 9 is greater, this 8 is less. So it's a less than sign. Well, this is a greater than sign, so that's not my answer. All three of these say less than. It is less than because 8 tenths is less than 9 tenths. That is what C says. So not only does lining them up give me the answer greater than, less than, or equal to that goes in the blank, it also gives me my justification for why. We look at the place we circled, and that gives us our justification for why. On the back, we are asked to round these to the nearest whole number and then put them where they go in the box. So before I put them anywhere, I'm going to round them to the nearest whole number. The nearest whole number is the ones place. 0 through 4, my circle stays the same. 0 through 4, my circle stays the same. Ooh, 5 through 9, adding 1 is my game. 0 through 4, circle stays the same. Oops, I did that backwards. Circle your place value, move to the right, and underline it. 5 through 9, adding 1 is my game. Circle your place value, move to the right and underline it. 0 through 4, circle stays the same. Now, when you go to write these down in the boxes, you're writing the original number that you rounded. So 5 and 34 thousandths rounded to 5. I can cross that one out. 6 and 49 hundredths rounded to 6, 5 and 702 thousandths rounded to 6, and 6 and 3/10 rounded to 6. 6 and 687 thousandths rounded to 7, and 7 and 43 hundredths rounded to 7. Number 2, Elise weighs 6 oranges and rounds the weight to the nearest hundredth. Which of the weights round to 2 and 37 hundredths ounce? So I want to round all of these to the nearest hundredth to see which one rounds to 2 and 37 hundredths. And it does say circle all correct answers, so that means I'm going to have more than one correct answer. So rounding to the hundredths place, so 5 through 9, adding 1 to my circle. Digits, all the other digits stay the same. 2 and 38 hundredths. 5 through 9, add 1 to my circle. Digits to the right change to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Find your place value and circle that digit. Move to the right and underline it. 0 through 4, circle stays the same. Digits to the right turn to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Find your place value, circle that digit. Move to the right and underline it. 5 through 9, adding 1 is my game. Digits to the right turn to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same. Last one, there's my place value. 0 through 4, my circle stays the same. Digits to the right change to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same. So which rounded to 2 and 37 hundredths? B and C both rounded to 2 and 37 hundredths. This question has to do with rounding and racing. So it says Benjamin and Beatty race in the 400-meter hurdles. Benjamin records a time of 23 and 761 seconds, and Beatty records a time of 23 and 659 thousandths seconds. Tell whether each statement is true or false. So first of all, what you have to understand about a race is that the smallest time is the person who wins. If you're running a race, the one who makes it in the smallest amount of time is the one who is winning the race. So it also, the statements are about rounding to the nearest hundredth, rounding to the nearest tenth. So we're going to come to the side here, and we're going to make us a little chart. We're going to take Beatty, just going to put a B, and Benjamin, we're going to call him Ben. Alright, so Beatty's time was 23 and 659 thousandths. 59 thousandths. Benjamin's time was 23 and 761 thousandths. So I'm going to take these, and I'm going to round them to the nearest hundredths place. Hundredths. Alright, so if I round to the hundredths, this is the hundredths place. My bossy next door neighbor is 5 through 9, so I'm going to add 1 to my circle. So my circle is going to become a 6. Digits to the right change to 0, and all the other digits stay the same. Alright, now I'm going to do Benjamin's time. I'm rounding to the hundredths, still the same place. Here's my hundredths place. Move to the right and underline it. 0 through 4, my circle is going to stay the same. Digits to the right turn to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same. And I didn't really give myself enough room because in my chart I also want to go to the tenths place. So I'm going to go back to the original numbers, but this time I'm going to round to the tenths, not the hundredths. So let me see if I can grab a different color pen. Alright, so going to the nearest tenths place, I'm going to circle this digit, move to the right and underline it. 5 through 9, adding 1 is my game. Add 1 to my circle, that makes that a 7. Digits to the right turn to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same. Back to my original number again, I'm going to round it to the nearest tenths place. Move to the right and underline it. 5 through 9, I'm going to add 1 to my circle. Oops, if I add 1 to my circle, that makes it an 8, Miss Bridges. Digits to the right change to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same. So now I can use this to see if these are true or false. So rounded to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to look at the nearest hundredth right there. There's where I rounded to the nearest hundredth. Benjamin's time is slower than Beatty's. Well, Benjamin is 23 and 76 hundredths. Beatty is 23 and 66 hundredths. Benjamin has a larger time. His number is larger. So yes, he was slower. That is true. Rounded to the nearest tenth. Alright, I'm going to look at the tenth when I rounded to the nearest tenth. Went to the nearest tenth of a second, the times are equal. That says 23 and 7/10, that says 23 and 8/10, so that was false. Beatty's time is closer to 23 and 75 hundredths than 23 and 76 hundredths. So I'm just looking at Beatty's time, and I'm looking at it in the hundredths column. Well, no, it's not 75 or 76 anything, so that's false. Benjamin finished the hurdles fastest and won the race. So I'm not rounding at all. I'm just looking at their original times to see if Benjamin was faster. So if I look, these are the same, these are the same. This number here is larger than this number here. So Benjamin was actually slower, not faster. So that is false. These we wanted to round to certain place values. So this number to the nearest tenth, 0 through 4, my circle's going to stay the same. My circle stays the same. Digits to the right change to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same. Now remember, you can put zeros after this, you just don't have to. Alright, before I round to the nearest hundredth, I'm going to round this one to the nearest tenth. There's my tenths place. Move to the right and underline it. 5 through 9, I'm going to add 1 to my circle, so my circle is going to become an 8. Digits to the right change to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same. I'm going to go to my other pencil or pen to round to the nearest hundredth. If I round to the nearest hundredth, that 3 is in the hundredth spot. That 2 tells me my circle stays a 3. Digits to the right change to 0, and all the other numbers stay the same, but I put that decimal in the wrong spot because I wasn't looking where I was doing. So the 3 in the hundredths place stays a 3 because my underline was a 2, so 0 through 4 my circle stays the same, and then digits to the left stayed the same. Alright, nearest hundredth again, I'm going to circle the hundredths place, move to the right and underline it. 0 through 4 my circle stays the same. Digits to the right change to 0. All the other numbers stay the same. Got my decimal in the right spot that time. And then finally, when you round this to the nearest whole number, which digit is in the ones place? Not which digit's in the ones place right now, but when you round it to the nearest whole number, what digit's in the ones place? So the nearest whole number is the ones place. So I'm going to round it to the nearest ones place. 5 through 9, adding 1 is my game. So that digit is going to become a 3. Notice the answer to this is not 43. It didn't ask me to round it to the nearest whole number. It says when you round it, what digit is in the ones place. It just wanted to know the one digit that was in that ones place. And there is a 3 in that ones place. Your test on this is coming up, so if you missed a bunch or you don't understand something that you did miss, please email me before your test date.